Hello, everyone. Welcome along to the Rangers Rabble Monday Phone In. I'm your host, Brian, tonight, and I'm joined by a great gang here tonight. I've got Scott. Scott, how are we?
Just come off mute there, Brian. I'm fine.
You remembered. Well done. Well done. Connor, how are we?
Aye, all good, Brian. All good. Looking forward to getting into it tonight. I'm sure.
Yep.
I'm sure that we'll have some sensible calls.
Absolutely. Yes, unlike another radio station. Mark, haven't been on for a while. How are you?
I'm all good, mate. It's good to see you. Good to see you. And I've been on the corner recently, and I've missed your care. So it's all good. Good. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. And of course, it is the phone in. So once the phone lines are open, I shall let you all know. Another quiet aftermath of a Rangers game, Scott.
My mute button wasn't working there, Brian. It was as bad as you there.
Yes.
Listen, yesterday's match was a difficult match considering the past games we've had, and we went in it yesterday with injuries, with different other things against us, but I thought we were quite comfortable. It was always going to be difficult at times, but I thought we restricted Hibs. They kind of flattered to deceive at times, but I thought we won with 2 goals, and it could have been more. And I'm happy with the performance. Brian, the main aim was to get through yesterday, but the best thing about yesterday is, since the game's finished, is so many people crying over decisions that were probably 100% correct. It's just laughable. Scottish media, Scottish football fraternity, thought this conspiracy. We've won 1 title out of 13. It's the worst conspiracy ever, but it's at the top of everybody's lips at this moment in time.
Yeah, Connor, it's I'm finding it rather sort of comedy gold at this stage. It's just from people you would expect better from.
Well, I mean, you say it's for people you'd expect better from. I'm not so sure you would expect much better from them, to be fair. I mean, look, at the end of the day, anytime Rangers get a decision, it's not going to matter. You're going to get that. Somebody could come on with a fucking pistol and shoot a Rangers player in the face. It still wouldn't be a penalty kick because it's a Rangers player that it's happened to. That's the reality of where we're in right now. It's like Kerr said, it is the worst conspiracy you've ever seen in your life. And the thing is, to me, it just does a disservice to himself more than anything else. Because I know Celtic fans who are sensible and who don't peddle that nonsense. But unfortunately, this growing sort of number of them do it because people in the media just fan the Flames. But you know what? My answer to them would always be, if Lennon thinks those decisions were right last night, then as far as I'm concerned, you can't really make a case. It's you just become accustomed to it. I don't think it matters anymore, as I say.
No, very much so. And Mark, as Connor's just said, if the man who you'd at least expect to say it was a penalty said it was a penalty last night, it's a penalty, isn't it?
I want to dig him up about this sensible Celtic fans thing. You show me a sensible Celtic fan, I'll show you a St Mirren fan. That's what I'm saying. Because I've not met one yet. There's not one of them sensible. Some kid on they're sensible, try to fly under the radar, but deep down they're not really. So let's get that straightened out first and foremost here. It's just the whole media thing, Brian, is just ridiculous, isn't it? But do you know what? I quite enjoy it because it's as if, I tell you what, I'm going to make myself look like an arsehole. And somebody else goes, do you know what? I'm going to make myself look like an arsehole. And then the next one says, do you know what? I'm going to make myself look like an arsehole. It's just brilliant, isn't it? It just shows, it's just that the bottom line is that the media is full of arseholes. It's great. I absolutely love it. What can you do? As I say, there's nothing you can do, but it's not like we're going to start going, do you know what? All this media is all against us. It's a conspiracy. It's terrible and all that, and there should be some sort of inquiry into the media and this and that, and we just go, do you know what? These are all arseholes, and we'll just move on and laugh at these. But that's not what happens elsewhere, is it?
No, not at all. The phone lines are now open, 01416287237. Get your calls in. Speak about the game yesterday evening. We've obviously got the Benfica game coming up at home on Thursday. It's basically anything you want to talk about, anything Rangers. So get your calls in. But Scott, the team lineup yesterday raised a few eyebrows. It was the same sort of 11 that started against Benfica away. Was there much sort of eyebrows raised from you?
I thought he might have made one or two changes. I said that yesterday, but listen, he went with what he thought he was comfortable with. He went with guys he trusts, and obviously he spoke to them all, taking producing our 90 minutes, and they all said, "We can, Gaffer," and they've done it. Listen, we're working with not many. He's got a bench that he's probably not very strong at the moment. It's been strongest. Listen, we're missing maybe 6 key first team players, maybe more. But nobody seems to mention that, do they, outside ourselves? But we're just getting on with the job. The manager said it himself. He has to be creative with certain positions, with certain players, putting players in a maybe position they don't think they can play or not comfortable in, and they're doing a job for us. You just look at Sterling, for example. Do you know what I mean? So, listen, whatever he's doing at the moment, everything he's touching is turning to gold, and I'm happy with this, and I'm happy with the team's going. We're all backing each other up. You seen it yesterday. If one loses the ball, someone else is in there behind, especially Monday. He's been superb since coming in. But John Lundstrom, who I said yesterday before the game, I thought he might struggle to produce 90 minutes. He was phenomenal yesterday, and I've been his biggest critic on here at times, but I have to say, I've eaten humble pie this season. But since big big John Lundstrom, I think he's been superb. But just get back to your point at the start, Brian. I think we'll talk about Rangers in general. I think, see, all this media stuff and all this conspiracy stuff only seems to happen, Brian, when we're doing well. See, we're not doing well. Nothing matters. It's like, it's just Rangers. Just laugh at Rangers. We can beat them. Let's kick them when they're down, stuff like that. But as soon as we start doing well, become a threat, the corruption thing pops up, the songs pop up, anything they can think of pops up. We're a challenger, and I said for the start, Celtic are in a state of a moment where they don't want a challenge for us. They don't think we deserve to be challenged. They think they should be winning everything in sight without anybody challenging them. They don't like it, and that's their issue. And if they can't handle it, then I'm happy with this, because this team's flying at the moment, and we're nowhere near what we can be. Because the manager, he speaks so much sense, but he wants so much more for this team, and he's going to get it, because I think the players respect him. And I think even putting in guys like Cole McKinnon's confidence is sky high at the moment, and that's him played the last 2 games as a substitution, but he's given the guy confidence, and I heard him speaking, saying he wants to be where Ross McCausland is when the games he's played. Listen, if he can find guys like this out of this injury crisis, it could save us some money bringing other guys in as well.
Very much so. Connor, I was going to speak to you about Lundstrom that Scott just brought up there. I think he's certainly the most improved player that we've got in the squad. And I think in Scottish football as a whole, he's easily the best midfielder there just now. He just seems to cover every blade of grass. His energy levels are incredible. You can't praise him high enough, can you?
No, you cannot. And I think, he really does, as you say, he does cover every blade of grass, and he never falters in his effort. I think, a lot of us looked at him on Thursday night and thought he looked a bit knackered, he looked heavy-legged, there was a few stray passes that were happening, and you wondered, should he maybe come off the park? Will he start on Sunday? But he just seems to be able to flip a switch sometimes. It's like he came back on Sunday yesterday, and you wouldn't have known that he had played the 90 minutes on Thursday and looked as knackered as he did, because he looked absolutely right up for it and fresh as a daisy. And I think if there's anybody who deserved to get a goal for just the efforts that he's put in all season long, I think it was John Lundstrom. Albeit he gets it with Tav missing the penalty and following up, but he's the quickest to react. He's sharp as a tack to get to that ball, and I think he deserves a lot of credit. It's funny though, because he does sometimes come in for bits of criticism that are maybe no fair to a degree. I think he does have games where he's nose involved, or he maybe makes 1 or 2 errors sometimes, but you can't be perfect 100% of the time. But what you always get from him is proper effort, and you can tell he's playing for the shirt. And I think if we can get him signed and extend his contract in the summer, I'd be more than happy to see him hang about, because I think players like John Lundstrom, they're very good players to have in and about the squad, without question of doubt.
100%, 100%. We've got our first call tonight, Jim and Kirky. Jim, how are we?
I'm fine, guys. How are you guys?
Not too bad, thank you. Not too bad. What's on the mind tonight?
Well, there's loads of things on the mind tonight, but I had to come on. My big pal's back, Mark. When Mark's on the call, I like to come on. And all I'm going to do is going to keep it simple. It's not so much really a point. I just want to say how excellent Rangers have been. I think the club are back to where they were. I think they're outstanding. I think it's about time we just gave Rangers credit. See the results, the manager, everything that's been about the club regarding, like, so going to Benfica, going to Easter Road, I think they've been outstanding. And I think, sometimes we get a wee bit, see yesterday's performance or last night's performance, whatever. I mean, my Sunday dinner was like, I didn't know what time it was. I tried to plan it for half time, but you've got about 20 minutes of injury time played. So you're sitting there, and I was very, very happy last night. I said, we're going to win this game no matter what happens, because we're a good side, and it's about time we gave them you guys, that we get the credit we deserve in this country. We all live in Britain, and we're not getting the credit we deserve. And then last night, and I've got to say this, because I was listening to the pod last night, and I'm just going to finish quite simply by saying Michael Stewart is a nutter fud. The word fud is a fud. And that's what I've got to say, guys, really, tonight.
100%. Mark, Jim's spot on, isn't he? I mean, the way the club's getting run now, the way the manager's handling things, injuries, the way he speaks to the press, they seem to be getting everything right just now, don't they?
Yeah, I think we've got a proper manager. I think we've all said it in the past. Got a proper manager that knows what he's doing, knows where he's going, isn't taking any shit for anybody, especially the press. And I think he's got that bit about him. It's kind of hard to quantify. It's that kind of air of authority, that kind of almost like a father figure type. That kind of, do you know what I'm getting at? That kind of some sort of I hate to use this word aura, but there's just something about him that commands respect, as far as I'm concerned. And I think that the start of the season, I don't think that this squad respected Bale, but I think that now the 100% of respect this manager. I think Clement's, as I said, he commands respect. So I think that I think it's a massive, massive part to him, as well as, listen, credit to the board as well, because the board brought him in. So and I think probably for the first time in the last maybe 10 years, barring Gerrard, they've actually done their homework. I think probably with Gerrard they didn't need to do their homework, but I think that they've done their homework. They looked into it. They went through the process properly for the first time in years and years and years and years. And look what happens when you do your due diligence. You get somebody that's a fit for the club. You get somebody that's a fit for the players. You get somebody that knows what they're talking about, knows what they're doing, knows how to nurture players and get the best out of players. And for me, that's the biggest thing, the fact that he can get a tune out of players that listen, 4 or 5 months ago, they were absolutely rotten. Would have chased every single one of them prior to him coming in. And now we're sitting here talking about Lundstrom, how good he is, covering every blade of grass, because you know that he'll bleed for this manager, and they all will. So I totally agree with Jim. We're definitely going in the right direction. I think that you can tell with the noise that's run about us. I think one of you boys said it earlier there about because we're doing well. There's noise everywhere, and long may it continue as far as I'm concerned. But I think that they're running scared now. I think that this is the turning point for us. I think, as I said, Clement, the board need credit. It's been a good fit, and we're all heading in the right direction now. So it's absolutely brilliant. We should just all enjoy it while we can.
And Jim, how do you see Thursday night going?
I think it will obviously be a difficult game, and that's what happens when you're playing at the top table. Let's be honest. I think Rangers will get through. I think definitely good enough to get through, but See, in this day and age, the way I feel about games like that as well, I mean, it could, as I said, I think I said it in the call last week, games like this could just come down to just a VAR decision, a handball decision. But if we play the way we can play, we're definitely capable of winning. I'm not going to make any mad predictions and say we'll do this and do that. Because they're a good side, let's be honest, but you're playing against good sides now, and we're not getting credit for that. I know we guys, I'm talking about the noise outside, as Matt spoke about there, and Fudge like Stewart and all that, they're not interested in us, and long may that continue, because I'm not interested in Glasgow Rangers, I'm not interested in them, but I think we can win it. I think we could actually, with this manager and the players, the biggest downfall we could have is probably obviously injuries, and again, a player I want to mention briefly, if I can, guys, don't want to keep you too long, is I'll be devastated if Big Sterling's out long, because I think that boy is unbelievable. And see, I watched the highlights back again with the chance he had, just the similar one to the penalty kick we got that Stone Waller might had, and he should have scored. The big man should have scored, and I just think we're a better team when Sterling's on the park. I really do. I think he's been outstanding, and I don't think even if Peel had still been there, I think this boy would still have been languishing in the stand potentially. I mean, it's ridiculous, and really, really, really rate the guy. So I don't know if there's been an update in his injury, but hopefully it's no bad. And I'll just finish off with guys and saying, and same to them that's listening as well. Got to remember too, to a degree, we're top of the league. The women are top of the league. We're still in Europe, so get it round them. All right, guys.
Tremendous as always, Jim. Thanks for calling. We'll speak again soon.
Yeah. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Cheers. Love Jim's calls, Scott. It's always very straight to the point and very factual. Sterling, when you mentioned Sterling there, I must admit I took a great exhale of sigh, because I was like, not Sterling, because he's one of the guys that's, in the last few months has just been another one that's just, as Jim says, if the new manager hadn't arrived, there's a good chance we could have never seen Sterling at this point.
Also a good chance, Brian. Remember I seen him, if it was just some injuries, because that's how he got his chance in the first place. But listen, he's been massive since he's come back. He come into his side. You can see that in himself. He's growing confidence, no matter where he plays, out in the right and the central positions, anywhere he gives you the same performance, because he's just a good footballer all round. His awareness, he's strong, he's got good, his pace is really good, but he's good passing the ball. I mean, he's just a big physical boy, but he's no a dirty player, like he's a footballer. And I think we will miss him, but I think the manager's clever enough. If he's not 100% on Thursday, he won't push him, because we've got a lot of football still to come. And I know Thursday night's a very big game. And Benfica are a good side. I mean, look at the side. You just have to look at our team sheet and you can see some of the names on it. And I know football's not played in paper, but the money they've spent and stuff, they're a good footballing side, and it will be difficult. But see if we don't get through. I mean, we're in the last 32, aren't we? The last 16, I should say. We go through to the quarters if we get through. But only 2 years ago, we were in the final. And I don't think we get credit for how well we've done in Europe. Probably from people, even from myself, I think if you look at it from outside, we've done really, really good in European football in the last few seasons. But I don't think we get the credit because of domestic success. I think because not winning the league and cups in Scotland, people just battle off and say they're decent in Europe. But if that was anybody else around Europe looking at that, a club in the side of country as us, getting to a Europa League final, I've been hitting the last 8 and doing really well and just winning games more often than not. I think you have to look at it as success for us, and it's phenomenal what we've been doing in Europe, considering our domestic success and changing managers and stuff like that. We've done really, really well. So, listen, I think Thursday's going to be hard, but you just never know, do you, Brian? Especially if the crowd gets behind the players.
Very much so, very much so. And we have Robert Blanc is a new YouTube member. Thank you very much, Robert. Much appreciated. Glad to have you on board. One player I want to speak about, Connor, is John Souttar. Now, I think John is, he had a very difficult start to his Rangers career. But I think in the last few weeks, he's certainly looking more assured. Yesterday, for example, he won pretty much every header. He was very good. Just a really good centre-half.
It certainly is. I mean, I think you can see with the fact that he's been able to keep himself off the injury list for a sustained period of time now and get that game time in. He looks more confident, I think, each week you see him. I think he's always been a good defender, John Stewart. I mean, if he never had such bad injuries throughout his career, the chances are he'd probably down south somewhere, really. But as he did, and he's shown calmness and confidence. I think there's still moments in his game where you can, where he maybe needs to improve. I think against Motherwell, he really should have been stronger, particularly for the first goal, because he's almost ended up off the pitch for barely being touched. So there's that element, but overall, I think you can see the vast improvements in him. Last night in particular, I thought he really commanded that backline area, and he did. He's winning most of the headers. Obviously had that nasty clash with Martin Boyle, which, for a minute you were worried that Suter was also going to be hurt, but obviously Boyle came off first. And to be fair, I do hope he's back and fighting fit soon, because it doesn't matter who you play for, you don't like to see players in that kind of state. But it just shows his confidence, the fact he just gets back up and gets home, and it didn't shake his confidence to go into other tackles or anything like that. He was still motoring on, and that's what you'll get for Suter. And I still think that the best is yet to come for him. I really do. I don't think we've seen the best of Suter yet. I think potentially once this season's done, we get into next season, I think you might start to see some of the best of him, because to me he's got more future in the back line than maybe some of the others, so you can see potentially going out the door before him. So no, I've got nothing but praise in the main for John Suter.
100%. And folks, phone in 0141 628 7237. Give us a buzz. Just the four of us chatting just now, but you can make it a fifth and give us a point that we've not spoke about, or something that you want to speak out of the box. So just give us a call about anything, Rangers. It's up to you. Mark, the game started last night, and decent start, and then all of a sudden we have a little bit of a mishap in the defence for Butland. Gets the ball caught on. To be honest, it was a poor pass from Goldson. It was pinged at him, and we nearly conceded from absolutely nothing.
I think there's Connor was talking about Suter there as well. I mean, I think there's you look at our defence. On paper, we're the best in the league at the moment, but there's a mistake in a pair of them, and he's just bigged up Suter, and I like him. I think he's a great defender. I think there's nobody better in this league at bringing the ball out with the ball at his feet. I think his range of passing is great as well. I said it the other night. I don't think any two of them are good in the air, and I think that's the problem. And I think it's a kind of trying to find that balance, that kind of happy medium where your defenders, because let's face it, in Europe you don't need to really be good in the air in Europe. Scotland, they'll just fling high balls into you left, right, and centre, and you need to be good. So it's trying to find that kind of happy medium. But the defence, I think, if it wasn't for Butland, I think we'd be talking seriously about the defence, because I think there's a couple of them, him and Goldson, I think have both got a mistake in them. But as I said, credit where credit's due. They have been playing well in the main part. But as I said, there's a wee mistake here and there. But as I said, I think the mixture of them and Butland is making us look, I think, slightly better than what we are. As I said, I think we've all seen it. We've all seen a big long ball over the top, or we've seen Suter getting caught under the ball how many times for goals and stuff like that. I spoke about it the other night. Both of them are 6'4", 6'3", 6'4". They need to be better in the air. They need to be better, as I said. But I think they get away with it because generally we're just pushing forward and we're attacking. So what they bring to us moving forward, starting moves, starting our attacks, outweighs the fact that they don't do that much defending. And I think sometimes there's a lapse in concentration there, and hence the reason why we had the dodgy one.
Very much so. Of course, Scott, we had the Sterling going, getting a 1-2 down the right, breaks into the box, and most fair-minded people would say it was a penalty. There's the odd one or two that thought it was a dive or it wasn't a penalty. Stonewall, wasn't it?
Yeah, as soon as he got in front of Abida, as soon as he touched him, he's going down into, and it's going to be a penalty because he's in the box, and you should just not put any contact in at all, and just maybe let David Marshall maybe come out and deal with it, because he must know himself. If I touch him, there's a good chance he's going to give a penalty, and he does, not once but twice. So, and I hear people saying there's not a lot of contact, but there doesn't have to be a lot of contact. You've all touched during the penalty area. I mean, a foul doesn't have to be given because you've hit me hard or hit me soft. You've made contact, so it's a foul. Just back to Mark's point a bit about Butland and Golson and Suter. I agree with Mark to a point, right? But you can actually say the same about Andy Gorham and Richard Gough and that back in the 90s. Like, Gorham saved us so many points, but didn't make big Gough, Butcher and Gough and Brown bad defenders. That's what I'm saying.
Fair enough.
Fair dues.
Not often you get that from Mark, is it? It's fair enough.
I'm stunned. He's not responding.
He's stunned. Yeah, he doesn't know what to say. Connor, obviously the penalty was given. Poor penalty from Tav. Not like him. He's usually far more reliable than that. But fair play, as you said in the opener to Lundstrom, he was actually running before Tav actually touched the ball. He was on the, he was ready to go, and he was first in and got his toe at the ball and poked it in the corner.
Absolutely, he was quick off the mark, as I says earlier, and I think you've got to be. It's the anticipation there. Obviously the assumption is always going to be you're going to expect that your teammate's going to score. We all expect to have to score penalties, but always be ready in case they don't, because 9 times out of 10, if keeper saves it, it ends up coming back in the box. You're going to have an empty goal if you can get there first, and he did, and he sort of bundled it in. He reacted quicker than any of the Hibs players as well. I know there was something to do with I think it was a check for encroachment or something like that. They had a slight look at, and to be fair, I actually think if Lundstrom didn't score, they might have retook the penalty for the fact that David Marshall looked about 5 yards off his line as well. But doesn't matter, since he scored. But no, listen, it's good play for him, and it's good anticipation in a phase of play, and I like that, because in those instances it's thinking ahead, and he was thinking ahead. He's in the defenders, and to be fair, our other attacking players as well. So I thought he took that well.
Certainly did. And then Mark, just after the half hour, the Swiss Army knife that is Dijon Sterling went down. I think everybody collectively took a big intake of breath, hoping it wasn't too bad. We've not heard anything yet about how bad it is or if it's a tweak, but not a sign we wanted to see.
Definitely not. It's just hard. It's just hard lines. It's as if somebody up there doesn't like us. I think that the way I look at it, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this a hard way.
Before you carry on, we've got Trevor. Trevor, how are we?
All right, lads. Not bad. Hope you're all well.
Yeah, all good. What's on what you're thinking tonight?
So I was saying to Martin just before, we're touching on the game Benfica on Thursday, right? And I must admit, what Big Phil's done is, I mean, that guy says he's not a magician, but I reckon he's got all Harry Potter's wands at home tucked up somewhere, because the guy's a genius. What he's managed to get out a squad that on paper months ago were hopeless is remarkable. So I've got every faith he gets 1 or 2 bodies back. We do the job, hopefully, against Benfica at home in front of that crowd. I was saying to Martin there that, if we get a wee bit of luck along the way, because that's what you need, and Big Phil keeps doing his thing, see if we were to avoid Liverpool, right? And I'm not assuming that Benfica's a gimme, because I'm not like that. But let's assume we get past them for a wee second anyway, and we can avoid Liverpool. Maybe Milan, maybe those two get each other and do us a big favour. Then I don't see any reason why we couldn't get the final. And I don't think it's me being big-headed. I just think this is our competition. We've done so well in it that if we can get ourselves through to that final and say we've played Liverpool, argument's sake, in a final with a wee bit of luck, I reckon it's who turns up more in the day. I don't see, lads, why we can't win it. I think you've got to be ambitious, but keep your feet in the ground at the same time. Wondering what you think.
I'll come to you, Scott, because this is a subject that you would love to talk about. I'll come back to you in a minute, Mark. We'll carry on the Sterling talk. But Scott, playing Rangers Liverpool in a final, you'd love that, wouldn't you?
No, because Liverpool did not destroyed us the last time, and they'll get nightmares. Listen, the Benfica game's winnable. We've done really well over there. So listen, we can go on Thursday with full of confidence, and like Trevor says, a wee bit of luck. We get it over the line and we're into the quarters. And listen, you never know in football because other teams are fighting for other stuff in their own leagues. Liverpool's fighting for stuff, and Jurgen Klopp's leaving, and we're fighting for other stuff, and there's other teams fighting for Champions League places or league titles. So you just never know. And we do really well in Europe. I mean, I know there's a lot of bullshit up in Scotland about conspiracy theories and we get help left, right, and centre. There's none of that in Europe. We seem to do well. So I don't know where they get it from. But listen, Europa League's been good with us and we've been good in it. And you see the amount of wins we've had in it since we've been in it the last few seasons. And listen, you can never tell, Brian. I didn't expect to get to Sevilla a few seasons ago, and we did, especially when we get drawn with Dortmund and Leipzig. I thought we were going to get put out. We never. So you can never tell in football. I mean, this Rangers team, you can't tell because when we play it at home, we can probably beat anybody. Just obviously the Champions League was too big a step last season, but you just never know, do you? So I'm not going to say never. I'm not going to say no, but I'll just take a game at a time. I'll still do what the manager says. I'll take it a game at a time. We've got Benfica and then we've got Dundee. Just let's pull it back a wee bit. Take a game at a time.
I mean, what about Leverkusen? Would you fancy them?
Talk to me.
I mean, aye.
On you go.
If you talk to me, I mean,
yes,
I'm not too fast. Aye, sorry, I'm not too fast. We seem to be. It's kind of hit or miss with German teams. I've got a small bit of confidence there, but see, you go back to it. Scott was saying there. I mean, aye, you're right. Liverpool did murder us, but then, I mean, I think any team and their granny could have murdered us. We were that bad last season at times with all the injuries. So, you know, it's you get through to a final. Who's up for it more on the day? It's the way Old Firm games go for me sometimes as well. They're a bit similar. Sometimes form goes out the window and it's who turns up more on the day, with a wee bit of luck in your side. And I reckon we just do so well in Europe, Scott, because we, you know, the Scottish game, it's how many Rangers managers have we had this problem in the past where try to get, I mean, look at the Great Water teams of the past. We do brilliant in Scotland, with exception of that UEFA Cup run, but then get absolutely murdered in Europe. So try to have a Rangers team that can switch on in Scotland, then switch on Europe is the holy grail. And I reckon in Europe we're just allowed to play because we've not got two buses parked in front of us and we get a good team with good players. So I don't know. I think we'll do the business on Thursday, boys, and then a wee bit of luck and I'll see you on Dublin.
Magic. Thanks for calling, Trevor. Good call as always.
Cheers, lads. Bye.
Cheers. And Mark, going back to your, when you go carry on, if you can remember what you were on about Sterling.
Well, I think what I was saying was we're going to do it this season. We're going to do it the hard way. Sometimes, I mean, over the last couple of years, if it wasn't for bad luck, we wouldn't have any. It really wouldn't. It's unbelievable to the point where if you try to tell somebody about it that didn't know, they would think you were making it up. Sterling's been a revelation. Superlatives we've ran out of them for the young lad, and it's great to see. And same again, credit to Clement. Clement's brought him on bleeps and bounds, same as the rest of them, and it just shows you he's come in and he's took his chance. And that's obviously the confidence that's been instilled from Clement. But when you see them going down, just like you said, Brian, my heart sunk as well. I just thought and I felt for the boy as well, because my initial thought was, young boy's broke into this side. He's had about 72 different positions. He's now starting to nail down a starting slot in a position that he can play, that he knows that he's doing well at. And for the poor boy to just get injured, and it's just, as I said, my heart sunk for him. And then and then Ross McCausland comes on, same thing. I just don't think we're meant to have wingers. I don't think anybody, especially right side of midfield. We've spoke about it on this pod for 4 year, 5 year maybe. I don't even know if the pod's been going that long, but that's what it feels like. We've been talking about this since I was 14, and that was yesterday. But it's mad. It's like, as I said, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it the hard way. My heart goes out to the young boy, because you feel like he's getting momentum, he's getting a start in the game, he's getting praise left, right, and centre. He's starting to find his feet in a position that's no his. He's starting to make that his position, and it, as I said, just absolutely heartbreaking for a young lad that he's injured. With a bit of luck, I know I think it's more wishful thinking than anything else, that we're all trying to analyse the fact that he wasn't in crutches and this and that, but clearly there's an issue there. They put ice on him on Thursday night. They don't do that just as a precaution. Obviously there was something there. There was a niggle. Maybe there was a painkiller injection or something for him to play. So there was obviously something there. Hence the reason why straight away Bosch got ice on it. And obviously it's been a bridge too far. And the boy played through necessity. It wasn't playing because, do you know what, he's all right and he's fit. We are struggling for numbers, especially wide. And he played through necessity. Hence the reason why I think that's the first time. I don't know if any of you will correct me, but is that the first time Clermont has ever played the exact same team 2 games in a row?
I think it is, yes.
So it just shows you how bad our numbers are, and especially in that final third. And it's my big concern. I think that we're going to end up running, because I mean, a lot of the boys looked as if they were running empty. They looked as if they were running empty on Thursday night. Never mind another game. So, as I said, it's my big concern that you starting to run the likes of Dessers and Silva into the ground here. Hopefully, we can get through these next couple of fixtures and get to this break. But it's just, as I said, I'll repeat myself again. If we're going to do it, we're going to do it the hard way.
Very much so. And Rangers on tour, I hope it doesn't come to this sort of level of winger that we want in SOS and Brandon Barker. But we have Stephen on the line. Stephen, how are we?
Hiya, boys. How we doing?
All good.
So, my question for you is, we are having no wingers at all, really. Do you think he'll look at 3 at the back?
Going in, Scott. 3 at the back.
No, I think he's happy. I think he's happy playing Silva on the left. I think Matondo's starting to come in. I think Cole McKinnon play out on the right as well. I think he's happy with the 4 at the back, Brian. I think he's happy with that. He knows Lundstrom can sit in there and he knows the 2 wingers can get forward if need be, Ilmaz and Tav. So I think he'll stick to what he knows. I think he's got a system that he likes. The players know it, and I think he said himself, he's been creative a few times. I think he will still be like the same. Matondo can go in, Cole McKinnon can come in, Silva's Eric. I thought Silva done really well out on the left. So I don't think I'll go to a 3 in the back yet. I don't think we're at that stage. I still think there's players they can put into certain positions that can do a job.
And Stephen, do you think it's a case of Clermont's got a style and he just likes to stick to that?
For me, I think so, aye. But I think we're in a spot now where there isn't any wingers sitting about. So I would love to see Yilmaz and Tavernier taking that side, 2 sitters, and Diamande and Lawrence, Cantwell, Lawrence, whoever's free. And I'd love to see, Martin agreed with me on that and all, I'd love to see somebody with Dessers up front.
Connor, 3 at the back. It's an interesting one. We've not played it yet, I believe, under Clermont. Is that something you think he's going to if as Stephen says, if the way injuries keep going, do you think you might have to change the formation, or is he just going to stick with what he's got?
No, I think as Kale says, I think he'll probably stick to what he's got just now. I think you forget that we do have cover in the when it comes to the backline areas, particularly. We've still got Balogun in there. Ben Davies is knocking about. Leon King. So I think you'd probably need another 3 or 4 injuries before he'd have to go to a back three. Albeit, I know that Ben Davies won't necessarily fill people with much joy, but as an option that he's got in there, and I would imagine he'd try using that first, because when you change the system like that, it can impact the other areas of the park. I do agree about the, somebody playing up top with Desser's point, right enough. I think that's a fair one. I think him and Silva, I wouldn't mind seeing more often the two of them playing together, because what can help is that if one of them's occupying the defenders and occupying a bit of space, it can let the other one get in and get a chance away. And we've seen that a couple of times when they have played, that they've been able to do it. So that would interest me. But I think we're a good few injuries away if you haven't to resort to back threes just yet.
And how do you think we're going to get on Thursday night, Stephen?
Oh, we'll have them. I think we'll have them. It'll be tight, but I think 3-1. 3-1's my prediction for that one.
Nice. Like that. Thank you very much, Stephen. Call again, as always. Thank you.
Cheers,
Mark,
boys.
Cheers. Thank you, Stephen. Cole McKinnon. Interesting comments today from him today about, wanting to emulate Ross McCausland breaking into the team. That's a couple of substitution appearances he's made now. Is this another case of the manager trusting a youngster? Mark?
Yeah, look, listen, you know how we all feel. We'd love to see young players coming through and doing well. I think that Clement is very, very good at this. I think he's obviously shown that kind of drip feeding a youth into the squad and trying to build them up and give them enough confidence to go and kick on. It's not easy to do. It's a kind of juggling act as well, but it's very encouraging, very, very encouraging. And he said it a few times in his press conference as well, Clement, that we need to. It's fundamental basics that we need to start trying to bring youth through. Especially, we've been far too many years without bringing decent quality through, and these young boys are good. They just need to be handled the right way. I firmly believe that. So, listen, if this young boy can kick on, I think more power to us. I think that it's something that we definitely need to do. As I said, all of us for years I've been saying that we need to get these young boys through. If they're good enough, he'll play them. And I think that previous managers have not had the bravery, I think it's probably the best word, to play them. And I think that Clement has 100% he's got his belief in his own convictions that he will play these young boys. If they prove that they're good enough during training sessions, then he'll play them, which is absolutely fantastic. And he said it himself against Benfica. He brought him on because he was good enough. He never brought him on just to give him game time. So, as I said, everything that we're talking about here is absolutely full circle from what we were doing at the start of the season. Everything seems to be positive. We're bringing young players through. We're trying to blood young players. We're talking about how the club's getting run now. We're talking about we've even been talking about how well we've done in transfer markets. I mean, what is going on? So, and the thing is, it's growing, and it seems to be growing week by week, even. Because Cole McKinnon's just sprung. Obviously, we've known about him, but he's just kind of crawled out of woodwork, and all of a sudden, he's kind of burst onto the scene, and we're all excited about this young boy as well. So, as I said, far as I'm concerned, this keeps growing and keeps growing and keeps growing. It's absolutely fantastic. As I said, I hope the young boy can kick on and become a Rangers regular for the next God knows how many years. But it's all positives.
And Scott, you've obviously probably watched the B team more than all three of us put together, probably. You've known Cole. You've obviously watched and seen Cole for a long time. Is this the sort of period in his career where he's able to break into the team?
I think it is, Brian. I think now he's working hard. He's had his chance, and I think he's going to take it with both hands. Listen, Cole's a tremendous player. He's box to box. He's got goals in his game he can create. But defensively, he's very good. You've seen that in Benfica when he made the block at the end of the game. He puts his body in the line, and he's always wanted to play with Rangers. He's a Rangers fan, and I know that can make a difference. I'm not saying it does, it doesn't. But I think sometimes if you're wanting something that badly and you get a wee glimpse at it, you have to grab it with both hands. And he's like he's mentioned Ross McCausland. Ross get a chance, obviously, through injuries. Cole's getting his chance through injuries, but like I said at the start, if these two guys can grab that, it saves us a lot of money, and it can end up making us a lot of money because the guys are coming through the academy, as Mark's mentioned, and then you start doing that. And Cole's came through, he went on loan to Partick Thistle, done relatively well there. Obviously, he get more first team games there, and he's come back to Rangers wanting a taste of the first team action. But there's only so long these young guys can sit about because they can't wait forever, and then they have to maybe go elsewhere and look for game time. But you've seen Ross come in and done it, and Cole's come in and he's come on in 2 games, he's done really well. So I'm hoping he gets more game time because I think he won't let us down. And like I said earlier, he can play across the middle, he can play out in the right. So he's a good player, Brian. He just needs a chance. I think if we give him a chance, he will take it.
And Connor, this is another sort of example of conveyor belt, and this is what we've been striving for a long time now, isn't it? A conveyor belt of kids coming through one after the other. Maybe not, not getting 2 or 3 at the same time, but one a season. If you're producing one a season, that's what the sort of aim of the game is, isn't it?
Oh, it is, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, that's the kind of model that, number one, it's great for those young players. It'd be great for the squad as well if they develop and they become real good players that you can use. But it's also a good business model as well, because financially, if you can, bring homegrown players through, develop them into good players, and then you sell them on for a good few million quid, then Bob's your uncle. I mean, look, it's no nice to say it, but they've done that well at the other side of the city for a few years now. They've had a couple of real big ones. You look at Kieran Tierney, he was an example. £25 million for a guy who's come through your academy is, by any metric, an outstanding piece of business. And we're capable of doing that. We've got all the resources there to go and develop that kind of player and then do it. My only thing is that sometimes I think we seem to be more hesitant to put some of the younger players into the first team when they come up, but they'll spend a lot of time in the bench and in and around it, which is positive experience, and it gets them, good knowledge and experience for the senior players. But you've got to give them opportunities as well. And for me, sometimes that those opportunities, it's difficult because ultimately the aim is to win games of football and win trophies, and you've got to play your best teams. But these players will only get to that stage where they are proper good players, where they do have a good selling value if you give them opportunities. And that can't just be against Dumbarton in a cup game, for example. You've got to do it in bigger games as well. We've done it with Nathan Patterson, but that was enforced upon us because Tav got injured, which was obviously an absolute rarity. But look what happened when he came into the squad. As a result, he's absolutely shone. Young Ross McCausland's the same. He has not looked out of place in their starting lineup at all when he's played. Yes, there's still moments in his game he's still a bit raw, but that's what you get with young players, and that's you're honing that out of them. So I think if we can just keep building that model, there's players there. Cole McKinnon's a good example with the hunger. He's got no just with him. I'm sure Zach Lovelace is another man who'd want to get in and amongst it as well because he's had a taste of first team action. So I think it's looking positive for the future, certainly.
Very much so. Very much so. And then, Mark, it all seemed the Hibs game was sort of moseying along all quite sort of nicely, and then it's just not long after the start of the second half, there was a booking. Obita got booked just after the 50th, and then all of a sudden, it just went completely nuts for about 5 minutes, didn't it?
Yeah, just all hell broke loose. It was just madness. Do you know when I was sitting watching it, my thoughts on it were, it was a good old-fashioned cup tie, wasn't it? That's what it was. It was a good old-fashioned cup tie. Tackles flying in everywhere, end-to-end stuff, crowd roaring and shouting and booing and causing havoc, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, see, for a neutral, it must have been brilliant. A couple of times, my arse started twitching a wee bit, but brilliant. A good old-fashioned cup tie, end-to-end stuff. But I don't know. It seemed like, to be fair play to the Rangers players, because I don't think any of them lost their heads. I think some of the Hibs players lost their heads, and it just kind of, I don't know, it just went crazy. It just, as I said, started flying out of tackles, and I don't know. It just, as I said, but I think that probably they felt the Rangers maybe getting upper hand and stuff, and I think the crowd played a big part in that as well, because I think that instead of giving them an extra 10%, it made them probably 10% more aggressive, and it was to their detriment. But as I said, that's the only way I could describe it, and that was my thoughts on it when that kind of period happened. It turned into a good old-fashioned cup tie. But as I said, I think that it's a fine line, and I think that some of the Hibs players stepped over that line and got too aggressive. I mean, I don't mind a hard tackle by any stretch of imagination. I think that you're there to compete. Cup final, I nearly said that. Cup tie. You're looking to win. Home tie, crowd behind you and stuff like that. So I'm all for a hard tackle, as long as it's 50-50, but by all means. But I don't know, it just seemed as if, and that boy that gets sent off, I can't remember his name, but he'd had a few chances that he could have got sent off, and I think it was an accumulation, and then he for me, as I said, I don't know, red mist. I've no idea what happened, but it seemed that, like you said, it was like a 10-minute period, 15-minute period, and it just went crazy. I enjoyed that period, to be fair, because, as I said, a bit of a throwback for me. I quite enjoyed it, but I just don't understand what actually happened in the game. It just went bizarre.
Very much so. Very much so. And Kerr, Rangers on tour, what I like to see is the players all back up each other when fouled or speak up to the ref. Far too long we have never backed each other up. That was very noticeable last night. Goldson made a very, major sort of move towards the referee to say he's been booked. You've warned him how many times, get it sorted. And it wasn't the first time last night that the players, if somebody was fouled, that they sort of went to the aid of the teammate.
No, and you've seen that a few times this season with the team. We've done it in Benfica during the week as well. I think you do it to a point, Brian. You have to watch it. You can't raise your hands and stuff. But you don't want to join another person being sent off. But listen, I've seen Hibs a few times this season, and they've always tried to play a bit of football. But I just thought for some reason he went different. I think the penalty annoyed them, and I think after in the second half, like Mark said, they kind of lost it a bit. I was itching. He was doing all different things to try and get sent off. He was trying to push McCausland off with the physio. I think we got warned for that, and then obviously he raises both hands to him. I don't know, just one but two. So it's a yellow card. I mean, it's not like it's a serious foul, but it's a yellow card because you're dropping somebody straight away, and then he's complaining about that, and he's still arguing with the referee even though he's been shown a red card. And he was lucky he wasn't shown another one. And the boy comes in flying for the tackle, and I've heard people saying that, like I said earlier, it wasn't a red, but it's a red card because Connor mentioned it earlier as well. I do it a lot myself because I'm age. We can't keep looking back and saying that was a tackle, like Matt was saying, old-fashioned cup tie, we love them, but you can't look back and say that's a great tackle because that can't happen in football anymore. We have to move on with the new rules and new laws, and I know that a lot of you don't like them. I don't like them. I think it's just an age thing, but we have to move on. So players have to be told. I heard the manager saying that he's told these guys you can go in for challenges, but stay on your feet more. Don't dive in because you never know. As soon as you dive in, even if you win the ball, you can't stop yourself falling through. So your follow through could get you sent off. So even he's saying that football's changed. You can't raise your arms anymore. Football's changing in a way. Is it for the good? We don't know because it's going to happen anyway, whether you like it or not. So they have to be clever now when you're winning the ball back. Stay on your feet more. Don't raise your arms as much, stuff like that. And I think he's drumming that into other players. But when other players do it and then it happens to them, it's this mad conspiracy. So who knows? But I was surprised the way Hibs done yesterday because they've always tried to play a bit of football. Even though they weren't great, but yesterday they went nuts. And then I think that boy at the Bunnies here, Macondes, he was actually fortunate that Bun still stayed in the amount of run about he done. He must have had that pinned in, maybe a few Kirby pins. That's all I'll say.
Folks, we could squeeze in one more if somebody wants to buzz in. 01416287237. You'll get through to Martin. He'll put you straight through.
Can I just come in a quick point about the red cards as well? Do you know what I feel like we lost in the modern game as well? We've lost the element of taking personal responsibility for your actions sometimes as a player. And managers let them away with it as well. Because see, ultimately for me, you know, Hibs were the architects of their own downfalls. They've got two players there who've let them down badly by losing their heads. And you've got to call that out, otherwise they'll do it again. Because if the manager's going to back you and say, no, the referee's the reason you know at fault for that, is no. Well, Beta had been warned so many times, as the guys had said, you know, and he got a final warning about 90 seconds before he did what he did to Matondo and clearly ignored the referee. And, you know, if you're going to wind up the referee like that, you're going to leave him no choice but to give you that second booking. And it's the same with Welsh for me. Again, you just can't understand why these players have made that decision. So I do think sometimes they've got to reflect upon that and take some responsibility for losing your head and flying into a challenge that has allowed the ref to make that decision. Because see, with 10 men, you've half a chance with 10 men and there's only a goal in it. You can maybe get something. See, once you get into 9, it's finished. So as far as I'm concerned, those two are the reason that the Hibs found themselves in that situation last night, and they've nobody to blame but themselves.
You know, it's 100%. We all said it in the stands. You know, what was the point in them doing it? They've let themselves down. They gave the club no chance to get back into the tie. So it was, as you say, Connor, the two players let them down, and you know, albeit that was fine, we would take it. Fabio Silva, I thought he put in a great shift yesterday, and he tried to do what he did for the goal a few times in the game, but just didn't come off. But last night, as soon as he flicked it onto that right side, I actually thought he was going to go for the far corner, but he was cute enough to go for the near post, wasn't he?
Yeah, you can tell his quality. I mean, we've all said it before as well. Very intelligent player, great movement. And listen, he knew exactly what he was doing when he scored that goal. He knew exactly where he was going when he received that. Sold that boy a dummy, and then flipped inside, and then took it to the near post. Great finish, absolutely fantastic finish, and it just oozed. That whole goal just oozed class. I think that probably played his best game in Benfica for Rangers. I think that, to be fair, I think he's fell in love with the club. I don't know if any of you seen his comments today. And look, you can't blame him, really. I think probably the shame is that we're probably not going to be able to afford them. I think that's, I mean, I don't know, some sort of a creative accountancy, or if we lock a chairman up and put a gun to his head and get him to sign another loan deal or something. But he's just class. He's just, you can tell just by looking at him, he's 2 steps ahead of everybody else in the Scottish League. Great player. The argument will rumble on, is he a 10? Where's his best position? For me, as I say, I've said it before, he can play anywhere across that front. He can play left, right, 10, striker, false 9. Probably, to be fair, if I had to pick, I think false 9 would probably be his best position. That dropping deep, linking play and moving on, I think was it. But listen, the boy is that intelligent and that good a footballer that he can play anywhere he wants in that front, as far as I'm concerned. Really starting to come into his own. I think he's starting to. He's had enough games under his belt where he's got a wee run of games, and he's starting to play. He's starting to understand all the boys run about him as well, and I think we're benefiting from that massively. My only gripe is that probably we're not going to see him after this season, but I hope that he leaves with a couple of medals under his belt. That's all I can say. But fantastic player, intelligent, great movement. As I say, great touch, technically brilliant. So, as I said, I can't say enough about the boy. I think that you can tell by looking at him that he's probably too good for this league.
Yeah, but he did say, Scott, last night that if it was up to him, he would stay. But obviously, it's not up to him. The two clubs have obviously got to come to a lot of agreements, and there's got to be a bit of conceding of, I would imagine, from Wolves' part, because obviously they parted with a lot of money for him. Is it just a pipe dream keeping this guy?
Listen, he says these things, you see it, you can't come out and say he doesn't want to stay, just that way he's on loan. He doesn't want to turn the fans against him. You say the right things in the right place. Listen, but you have to give him credit and see Managerial credit because they came on loan for their parent clubs to get some football and to play football with first team instead of just sitting on a bench, whatever. And they're doing that and they're buying into what the managers want. And you can see how well both of them have played this season. You get some players that go on loan, don't do as well as that. They maybe go on loan, play a couple of games, sit on the bench, play a couple of games till they go back to their own club. But the boys have came and gone to the manager's ideas. Seem to contribute a lot of goals and assists before they get injured. Silver's starting to do the same. I agree with Mark. He's quality. He's a couple of steps ahead. I think him and Dessers are starting to understand each other. I thought you seen it last night a few times with Dessers, but a cross ball him because he knew where he was running. I think him and Campbell have got a very good understanding, Silver and Campbell, because he's on the same wavelength. But as long as he's here, just enjoy him, Brian. I don't want to look too far ahead because you don't know what's going to happen this summer. Come on and Cop and they'll probably get a list of players or what. And I think it's going to be maybe younger players and hopefully some of the boys in the academy are getting games because we have to look at the business model we've got. We can't go spending money we've not got, stuff like that. So as long as he's here, I'll enjoy him and maybe we'll get him for another season. You never know, he's still only a young boy, and if we can win something this season, only win the League Cup, if we can win something else, maybe he'll want to stay as well, maybe he'll push on a loan deal. You just never know.
Very much so. Very much so. So, folks, that is us. That's been a quick hour. My thanks to Scott, Connor, and Mark for joining me tonight. Good chat as always, gents. We will be back. Well, first of all, we've got the women's show immediately after this at 8:45. We're going to be reacting to the Scottish Cup semi-final draw, which is just coming up at halftime, I believe, between Morton and Hearts. So we're going to be reacting to that, and also the ladies were in the capital yesterday and managed to get a win. So obviously, Hibs were put out of two competitions by us, so that was always good. So we'll be, as I say, live at 8:45 tonight, immediately after this one, and then we'll be back on Thursday with the build-up to the big last 16 tie against Benfica. So again, thanks for everybody for commenting, and we shall see you very, very soon.